This wall is even older than the Great Wall of the Qin dynasty. It winds through Mount Taishan and runs across Shandong province. Jinyang Pass is a vital point in the Great Wall of Qi. It is where Qi culture and Lu culture converge. Across the path, north along the ancient road, lies the village of Sandifan, home to 7,000 people. Today, local history expert Ning Yin Tang is headed to Jinping Mountain to document an inscription found there.
See that? The words became clear after dabbing water on it. This was from Emperor Qianlong's reign. It reads, 11th day of the 10th month of the 5th year of Emperor Qianlong's reign. There are many inscriptions like this all over Sandifan. Almost 30 are spread throughout the mountain alone. But I have to say, this particular one is rather distinct.
Legends told by my ancestors all mentioned that the mountain was nice back then, but its forest ended up getting destroyed. There was a public discussion that was brought up with the government. The government, in turn, set up this stele. This stele played a big role in protecting the forest and preserving Jinping Mountain.
Jinping Mountain stands to the west of the village like a mighty barrier, its face covered with lush vegetation. It is a vital water source for the village. To prevent the destruction of the mountain's flora and conserve its soil and water, the clans of the village agreed to protect its forest together. They set up this stele that prohibits logging in the area. Sandifan was a key point in ancient Qi during the spring and autumn and Warring States periods, thanks to its proximity to Shandong province's traffic route. It went through multiple periods of prosperity and war. The ancestors of today's villagers moved here during the early Ming dynasty. As with most villages in North China, Sandifan is home to families from different clans. They share the belief that nothing can be accomplished without rules in place. With rules, they can get along in harmony and bring prosperity to the entire village. Therefore, the villagers have set common rules for the whole village to abide by. Some of these rules are even carved onto stones to serve as reference for future generations. The stele that prohibits logging in the area is one such example. Zhang Fujing, a revered resident of Sandifan, belongs to the 21st generation of the Zhang family of the village. Before he retired in 2003, having dedicated 10 years to studying ancient villages, he, along with other village scholars, has since compiled a book of village annals.
Look, these are the annals of our village. This document contains records from the early Ming dynasty until 2002.
600 years is a long time. Impressive.
I have right here some of the manuscripts.
For the village
yes,
annals?
we have a lot of these documents. These are just some of them. The name of the village was decided based on 3 virtues.
The Sande in Sandifan stands for the 3 virtues of the Confucian Golden Mean: wisdom, benevolence, and courage. Villagers believe these virtues cannot be upheld unless they abide by traditional rules. To comprehensively compile the village annals, Zhang Fujing visits families and reviews a large amount of archival information. Aside from recording the history of the village, he has also traced the genealogies of the families, as well as compiled the numerous rules created in the last 600 years.
These are Sandofan's many family trees. There are over 40 family surnames found in there, 20 of which belong to larger clans. The respective genealogies are all here. You can check. This is the Zhang family tree. It's well preserved. This is the older copy. We made a newer copy of this recently. This is the new one. It is updated. At this point, I have poured through all the genealogies of all the families. The rules of each family share a common emphasis on behaving properly, maintain a harmonious family, and how to get along with one's neighbors. Our ancestors taught us what we should do, what we should not do, and how we should conduct ourselves in life.
Influenced by tradition, Chinese families have always placed importance on teaching their descendants their family instructions. These instructions serve not only as the bond that links descendants to their ancestors, but also as their moral compass. The family rules followed by the villagers of Sandifan puts an emphasis on descendants being upright people to maintain harmony not only within their clan, but also with others. Only by abiding by these rules can a family live in prosperity for generations.
The tenets followed by each individual clan all mention the importance of children always striving to be the best version of themselves. They are expected to strive for kindness and be virtuous individuals. A family should have virtues, because having it invites prosperity. A family ruled by evil will always be cursed.
Each family's set of rules advise its descendants to do good deeds. This same rule applies to the village in the form of general regulations agreed upon by all clans through a public discussion. These rules should be followed by everyone. In the village of Dajai, 3 kilometers from Sandifan via the ancient road, stands a stele banning gambling. Just like Sandifan's ban on logging, this local rule is observed by everyone. In the time of Emperor Guangxu, local elders elaborated on the evils of gambling and implored the villagers to avoid it in an effort to eliminate this from their way of life. Zhang Fujing, vice chairman of the Shandong Folk Customs Association, has his own opinion about these historical relics.
Dazai was the only gateway that brought merchants to Jinan from the middle of Shandong. The traveling merchants who frequently passed through here had this bad habit of gambling quite excessively. The villagers viewed the gambling as a detriment to their local morals, because at the time, this village was home to weavers and scholars, and so the locals reported this concern to the county government. They in turn sent this stele here and put it in a public spot so as to discourage the practice. It was meant to dissuade not only the people here at the time, but also their descendants, and so on. While this ruling is old, it is still practical to this day. It helps regulate the social atmosphere and stabilize the social order in the locale, which is vital.
Zhang Fujing believes that village rules are not meant to restrain people's behavior. Instead, they are meant to advocate good morals among the villagers. Sandifan Village covers an area of 1,000 mu. Its 10 main streets and alleys are designed in accordance to the terrain. Since the Ming Dynasty, both the village and its population have steadily grown. The village may have changed over the years, but numerous historical relics, as well as local legends, have been preserved. These relics and legends are still relevant and remain vital parts of the village's set of rules.
In the late Qing dynasty, a conflict arose between the Mao and Qi families of this village. This stemmed from water dripping from a building. The Maos had a recently retired relative who served as a viceroy for Guangdong and Guangxi, who by then lived in the village. Naturally, his relatives went to him, hoping to get justice. But instead of acting on the matter, the old man invited them to have dinner first. While they were eating, he intentionally knocked over a pot with his spoon. He did this to signify that spats such as this are not a big deal and should not rattle the neighborhood. He made harmony the Mao family's virtue after this.
The viceroy mentioned in this story was called Mao Hongbin. He never expected that the virtue he instilled to end the spat would later become the key virtue that the whole village would abide by.
See? It's an inscription for harmony. The viceroy used this virtue to reconcile the Maos and the Chis, but later on, the villagers took it and placed it atop the village entrance to symbolize the community's strict adherence to its rules. It keeps them all in check so that they may serve as good examples for the next generation by avoiding conflict. But whenever conflict does arise, the people are expected to restore harmony right away. This is close to the core of traditional Chinese culture, if you think about it. Confucius wrote about benevolence, courtesy, balance, and harmony. Harmony is the highest virtue. If neighbors get along, the entire village gets along. And if the entire village gets along, will the rest of society follow suit?
For centuries, until 1990, generations of villagers in Sandifan continue to revise their local rules. Villagers are made aware of these rules through documents. They look after each other to make sure the rules are followed. For the past few decades, there have been few disputes. People here live in peace. While compiling the village annals, Zhang Fujing found one such document in the village library.
These are the village rules, discussed and agreed upon by the residents of Sandofan back in 1986. These revised rules contained 7 items and 38 clauses. It mostly focuses on keeping harmony in the family, how to show reverence towards one's parents and elders, one's neighbors, and how to cherish and nurture the younger generation. We have followed this for years.
There is a saying that goes, do something, but not everything. Village rules are only set by the villagers themselves. None of these guidelines were sanctioned by the government. But the villagers believe that these rules are necessary for progress. Their adherence to their local code of conduct is the reason why Sandifan has been prosperous for years.
Confucius once said that a man without honor abides by the law for fear of punishment. But if a man is guided by his morality, he will not behave out of fear. So what does this mean? It means that a person solely guided by the laws of man will be exempt from punishment as long as he follows them. But a lack of moral awareness keeps him from behaving according to his conscience. Meanwhile, a person whose morals are cultivated will not only behave in accordance to the law, but also out of his conscience. In the modern setting, society is being governed by virtues and the rule of law. But traditionally, we were governed by laws and sound reasoning. Therefore, local rules echo Confucius's idea that we should be guided by morals as well.
The villagers believe that all good virtues should be advocated, and whoever lives by them should command everyone's respect. This is the reason why generations of villagers have strived to follow the rules. In Sandifan Village, one family is universally praised and is regarded as the gold standard for everyone else. Old Yang Bingying and her diseased husband are regarded highly by the villagers. 30-odd years ago, the villagers presented them with the stele of filial obedience and virtue in honor of the respect they have shown their parents. Now incapacitated by apoplexy, she lives with 4 generations of her family. Her more than 30 descendants also garner high praise for the same filial obedience she was honored for. Confucius once said that true filial obedience goes beyond actions. It should come from the heart. Children should always be pleasant towards their parents, which can sometimes be a challenge.
Before I married into this family, my grandmother had been bedridden for years. Prior to her death some 8 years ago, my mother-in-law took very good care of her. Not once during that time did she get impatient, and she never complained about anything when she was still taking care of my grandmother. She did it out of love. I guess it is part of our family's tradition because I am doing the same thing for her now that she herself is bedridden. It is just right that I do this for her. She does not have a daughter, but she does have a daughter-in-law. I am now beholden to take care of her just like she did my grandmother. Having an elder in the family is like having a treasure, and we truly believe that. It does not matter to us at all whether she can walk or not. We have our mother, and that's what's important to us. In short, she's very important to us.
Every year during Yang Bingying's birthday, many from her family come together to celebrate. For this family, this day is even busier than the Spring Festival.
Today, we are gathered to celebrate the 88th birthday of the woman we love and respect the most. Let us all toast to her good health and long life to her!
In China, filial piety is a very important virtue. For Zhao Juwen's family, it is a code of conduct that they have passed down for generations. His family sets the standard for the rest of Sandifan.
There are two virtues that are important to a family: filial piety and respect. Now, filial piety is used to strengthen the bond between generations. On the other hand, respect is used to strengthen the bond between one's contemporaries. With both filial piety and respect, a family will live in harmony. There will be an absence of disputes, and a family who lives in peace is bound to be prosperous. But how can we fulfill filial piety? It is up to the older generation to set the example, and for the younger one to emulate. Therefore, both respect and filial piety are handed down through actions.
On weekends, Zhang Liegui holds calligraphy classes at his home. Exposed to it at a very early age, the children of the village compete with each other as a show of love for Chinese characters. All families in Sandifan Village have calligraphy hanging on their walls. Their love for it is so great that they even hang their own works in their homes. In their eyes, the words written using the art form sets the standards of how they should behave. Their fondness for calligraphy and displaying works in their homes are a special way to be reminded of their virtues.
Fellow countrymen, ladies and gentlemen, children and friends, we are about to begin the annual couplet competition of Sandofan Village. Just like last year, I hope all of you who are here and are competing today will show your talents and write to the best of your ability in writing village virtues, such as loyalty, chastity, kindness, filial piety, righteousness, solidarity, and thriftiness. Good luck.
Writing and posting couplets is a flourishing traditional custom in China. But in Sandifan Village, the villagers' fascination with it is more pronounced. In the annual couplet competition, all participants put their special skills into use. For everyone involved, this is not simply a competition of skill. This is how they show reverence for their virtues. The words they write and hang on their doors will serve as their inspiration, and whether by design or coincidence, guide their actions as they look towards the future.
There are many standards that need to be followed in writing couplets. The main emphasis for these focus on the tenets of our morality as a people, inviting prosperity into our homes, and expressing our hope for the future. To put it in simpler terms, the ideas written in these couplets reflect the hopes and dreams of a family.
In Sandifan Village, family and village rules are not the only guidelines people follow to stick to their virtues. The people have also devised many ways to eliminate their bad habits. This is the play called When the Moon Rises. This beloved traditional opera show is performed on stage by the Uyin Opera Troupe. As a nationally recognized intangible cultural heritage, Uyin Opera mostly portrays the daily lives of local rural women. These plays advocate family harmony, keeping peace in the neighborhood, satirizing societies, and promoting traditional virtues. This type of opera is popular in Sandifan because it strongly echoes local customs and uses folk proverbs so stories can be easily understood.
See that? On the southern slope, 2 mu of sorghum. Would you like to take the top or the bottom portion of it?
Top! I want the top part! I want the top.
You want the top part? Everyone knows the sorghum ears grow on the top. There are 2 mu of corn cobs on the eastern slope. So tell me, would you like the top or the bottom?
Middle, I want the middle part.
Every spring festival, parades go through the 10 streets and many alleys of Sandifan. 10 teams with gongs and drums rush to the center of the village in a contest to see who can deliver the liveliest show. The village's walking on the high iron stick is a national intangible cultural heritage and is the focal point of the parade. The villagers believe every family should contribute something to the festivities. Such a grand event cannot be mounted if they do not work together. Sandifan's people view the festival as the perfect venue to see whether their families are harmonious, their neighbors friendly, and their community united. Before the spring festival, the people of Sandifan welcomed back old man Qi Jiping from Taiwan. He is of the 20th generation of the Qi family in Sandifan Village and is now 88 years old. His old house lies along the Qi Alley.
It is good to be back. It is good to be back home. This used to be wide and long, but now it does not look like... Look at that. The words are still here. The temple and the gate were over there. We went to school right here. I still remember the gate.
In the span of 50 years, Sandifan has undergone many changes. But the tradition of setting up rules and adhering to virtues remain a key part of life here. In the 1970s, Qi Jiping wrote and published the book Stories of Seasonal Divisions. In the book, he not only introduced the traditional seasonal festivals in China, he also wrote about the rules on how one should conduct himself, as well as the virtues that people should adhere to. Three of Qi Jiping's brothers still reside in the village. He, along with his relatives, sweeps his parents' tomb whenever he returns home, reviews the family rules, and educates his descendants.
Our beloved forefathers, our dear grandparents, and our loving parents, we will instill in all our descendants a strong sense of following the rules that you have written for us to live by, so that they themselves may all live a life of virtue and honor. Thank you, dear ancestors.
Qi Jiping's father helped in the founding of Sandifan Village's primary school. He himself attended the school when he was young. He was strictly educated by his father. As an elder, he holds calligraphy classes with the village children to teach them about the rules he learned from his father long ago.
What does this proverb mean? It means that with patience I can do better than others who hurriedly finish a task for its sake. Now do you understand? Pay attention to the virtue of learning. Confucius said that the essence of learning is taking what you learned in school and applying it to your life by forming good habits. Because having good habits in life will make you better people who can continuously learn even after school, so that you can contribute greatly to the community and make it more prosperous for everyone's benefit.
These are the virtues and code of conduct that Xi Jinping learned from his predecessors, which he is now passing on to the children of the village. Perhaps it is his way of coping with the homesickness he will never outgrow.